Brisbane Broncos season mathematically is now officially over. The Brisbane Lions absolutely pooed their pants against Carlton at Marvel. Welcome to the Talk of the Town podcast. As always, joined by my brothers Angus and Harry. Boys, how are we?
Look, not great, but not so bad at the same time. It's been a bad weekend for Brisbane, but it is what it is, and it's not what it isn't, Lachlan. But look, ready to tackle this week.
It was a bad Saturday night for a Brisbane fan of any code.
It was actually... Oh, Harry, you go.
Yeah, I'm doing well. Just been trucking through this week, doing assignment work, not doing assignment work. And just getting grade 12 done.
Lachlan, about last night, it was actually funny when Harry was in his room and we were like, why is Gerald not out here with us? I mean, it could have been the fact that Brisbane Lions were getting pumped. And you said to Lachlan, oh, you go and get the young fella, would you? So I went down to Harry's room to get him. And I said, Harry, come out and watch the footy. He's like, nah, I don't want to watch Brisbane get pumped. I was like, nah, we've switched it over to the Knights-Broncos game. He's like, oh, right, eh? And I said, the score's 20-0. He's like, nah, I'd rather see the Broncos get pumped than the Lions get pumped, so I'll come out and watch it.
Yeah, there was a bit of that. And then we quickly made the switch to Top Gear. And then a bit of Outback Truckers to finish the night.
And it was good to see Richard, or Dick, as he likes to go by sometimes, get into his work out west.
Okay, mate. There's kids listening.
That stretch of road from Darwin's not the best, mate.
No, with his bloody 18 kids or whatever he had.
And the dog that's always playing up in the workshop.
I will say, boys, the highlight of the Saturday night, outside of the Top Gear and the Outback Truckers, was... Look, I'm going to pat myself on the back and say I put on an absolute dessert masterclass.
I will give you that, but I've got after the food I ate on Saturday, it was the most guilty dessert I reckon I've ever had.
Harry, run the listeners through the absolute glutton fest that was your Saturday, from the top to the bottom, from breakfast to my dessert extravaganza.
So I had porridge.
At the farm.
So at the farm, and I didn't have much porridge.
Out of the
didn't have
thermomix.
much porridge from Camille,
which is basically just full cream milk and
oats.
Yep.
No, this was a bit of a custard one, so I don't really know what changed, but it wasn't bad. Had a coffee, and then took off into town, grabbed myself a McSmarty, and then started the trek to Toowoomba, and then went to Urban Grounds and had a breakfast burger. It was a great breakfast burger. For $21, it was impeccable value. It was massive. And in fairness, I didn't pay. But it was good value, even if I was paying. But it was extra.
Harry, question, sorry, this popped into my head. I'm sure listeners have got this question as well. The McSmart meal that you got, did you pay for the McSmart
meal? Yes, I did, because I wanted the points.
So that's why he got a McSmart meal. But what variant of Smart did you get?
Yes.
I got the cheapest one,
which is the nuggets and the burger.
For the nuggets or the hot apple pie?
Nuggets
and burger, and it's only 3 nuggets, isn't it? Which is absolute pittance.
It's disgusting.
And then had my breakfast burger. Then went to the cinemas, where we were watching the new Spider-Man, which we might touch on that.
We?
Me and a few people I know.
Nice.
And then the Wallace family.
Okay.
And then,
because I'm sure the listeners would be wondering, Harry.
Yeah. And then
that bus Gus has just thrown you under. School bus. That might actually be a bus. That one.
Keith's been on the wheel, mate.
Walked in, and I bought myself Maltesers at $10.60.
Yeah,
we were running a bit late.
I can't believe
because I was running a bit late. I did mention to people I was with, like, I reckon we've got time to jump down to Easy Mart. It's just down there. And they're like, nope, don't have time. So I was like, oh well, I'll cop this one. So I bought the Maltesers. Then went into the movie.
You copped the $10 after getting your food paid for all day.
Yeah, copped it. It was tough pill to swallow. I did request transfer at the end of the night, but was refused.
Oi, mate, mind nipping me the $10.35 for those Tezzers I brought back in the cinema?
I did actually say that because at the end of the night I was saying thank you for paying for all my food, and then they were like, "Oh, that's all good." Then I requested the $10.60, which was politely declined. So then we go into the movie, and then there was a frozen Coke there, which I don't know how it got there, but it was sitting in my seat, and it was full, so I drank that. And then watched the movie, went out, and then went to Centuro and hammered some Gluttony there, which that was a real punish. That was like he felt so naughty. And then and then after that, went home and dropped by Foodworks and picked up some cookie dough and Marvelous Creation bites for our dessert, and then we were away.
And the dessert was two scoops of cookies and cream ice cream with a scoop of vanilla ice cream with chopped up cooked cookie there, one cookie each. Then there was other cookie dough that was chopped and put in the fridge for cookie dough bites that was put in there. There was, courtesy of Gus, one double coat Tim Tam each that was chopped up and put in there. Then Harry's Marvelous Creation bites that were put in there, and then just mixed up. And it was, look, it was good, very good. I mean, gluttonous. Not something we do often. However, when you got a not something raspberry, it was really hit you between the eyes because it was a little bit out of place. But the rest of it was all some form of cookie variant that blended together, which was delicious.
Yeah, it's not something we do often, but it's something we do well. If
Very
we're having
well.
a gluttony night, we go full glut.
And next Glutton Fest, which I think is what we're going to start calling it. Is it your turn, Gus, to assemble?
Yes, it's my turn.
Back to you because Harry started it. Then I started it. Then it was Harry. Then you,
and then Harry or you, Harry or something. Yeah, but no, it went Harry, you, me, Harry, you.
Nah,
because remember Harry.
I did the ice cream sandwiches first.
Oh yeah,
and I was like,
Harry just blew it out of them. Harry set a new standard.
Yeah, and then Harry went.
Yeah, because you guys were getting at me for I was going to do a bad one, and I was like, "Oh, I'll show you guys." So I put.
Well, you were threatening. You were saying to us, you said, "Yeah. Well, dessert for tonight is a Swiss Miss, which for those that don't shop at Costco, that's a hot chocolate." Or there's drumsticks in the fridge. You yourself don't eat drumsticks, so
yeah. I thought you were gonna pull out and say that the dessert tonight's actually dingoes,
or
which means nothing.
Or I wanted to get Harry just a Calippo to have while we had our Glutton Fest.
And I actually wouldn't have hated that considering what I ate for the day.
Yeah, probably would have.
It probably would have refreshing.
One of the hydrolites that's been in the freezer for ages.
Not the hydrolite, the salty ice block.
Yeah.
You know, Harry, much like you, on Thursday, release day of Spider-Man Brand New Day, me and my mate Luke, who's a massive Spider-Man nut, we went and saw it. Now, we have had a tradition of we go and see the new Spider-Man on the day it comes out. We've been to the midnight release of one of them, which was the one, which was No Way Home. The last one came out in 2021. Luke informed me as we're walking into the cinema while he's holding onto his Spider-Man collectible popcorn tin and drink that he has pre-ordered. And he's walking into the cinema with, he goes, "Yeah, I just have to preface that I got invited to a pre-screening last night with the Broncos players, so I have seen this movie. I just need to make that perfectly clear, and I'm more than happy to come and continue the tradition and watch it again." So we had a lovely time. Me,
Big lift from Luke.
I know. Me, Celia, Luke, and Tegan had a great time. Harry, I'm not going to spoil anything for the listeners, but this is obviously the first Tom Holland movie in the second of his trilogy. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was a great watch. It left you with a lot of questions. It left you with some cliffhangers going into the next two movies, but it just set the scene up well for the first movie of a trilogy. It left you wanting more.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's often with the first movie of trilogies, you kind of get no answers, and you sort of come out of it going, I don't really know where that was meant to take me, and I think that's a good way for the like it's a good way for you to be because it means you don't really know where the next one's going.
Yeah. How would you, Gus, and I would strongly urge you to go and see it. It's a great time.
Yeah,
It's
I'd be
honestly,
keen on that for sure.
I don't really. I mean, these sorts of Marvel movies, like you're never really gonna have a bad experience. And Spider-Man's always so fun and such a goofy superhero that it's like always he's so well loved and they're so well put together. But I really enjoyed it. I think it's worth watching. You don't. One thing I would encourage is people to watch a YouTube video of everything you need to know heading into it because I hadn't seen any of the Punisher franchise, which is John Bernthal's character. So when he was in it, I had to ask Luke, what is going on here? But outside of that, I knew what was happening. But Harry, I reckon I'd give it like an 8 out of 10.
I think it's Marvel's 10 is so high with some of the movies they've produced. So for me, if you're ranking Marvel movies, it's probably a 6 or 7.
I reckon it's closer to a 7 than it is to a 6.
I agree. I'll go 6.6. I think it will become a better movie as the next 2 come out. And
Yeah. It's just it's never going to be very highly rated because it is the first movie of a trilogy, and it's like you're building the story up, and there is also obviously a lot of follow on from No Way Home that evolves through the movie, but it is very much. Not a lot actually happens, really, but it does lay the groundwork for a really good second and third. Like I can imagine the cliffhanger from movie 2 to movie 3 will be quite large. Now we probably won't see the second movie until about 2029, but we'll be eagerly waiting.
Yeah, yep, and I'd say we'll go and see Avengers Doomsday as well. That'll be a massive movie.
Oh, massively. Huge. I mean, I feel like you can't really go wrong with the Avengers. Like you can't really go wrong, especially with Captain America coming back. But I do think that nothing will ever beat the levels of Infinity War and Endgame. Like I think Marvel, I just don't think those two will ever be topped.
Yeah, like they were such good movies that like everyone goes, "Oh, the Marvel franchise is dead." It's not. It's just nothing can ever take you to the highs of 2016, 17, 18, and just the vibes of life during that time.
Well, I think it was 18, 19, and then COVID hit, and they pivoted to a heap of shows, and or it was also the same time they were starting a new trajectory and a new like story arc, which was going to be the whole
had to after Endgame.
Yeah, which was going to be the whole Kang dynasty, and then Jonathan Majors, the actor, gets done for, I think it was assault or something, like a physical assault, and they had to pivot, or maybe it was domestic violence. It was something like that. They had to pivot away from him, and now it's obviously Doctor Doom, of which we all have his Fortnite skin, so we're true fans. So Gus, I don't know how much Marvel you have seen. I feel like you've seen the big hitters.
Yeah, I have.
You've definitely seen Infinity War and Endgame, but
yeah,
I don't know. There's a lot of crap from the last 5 years of Marvel that you could like go through to the keeper, but this is one.
I've definitely watched a few, and it's just something I haven't turned my attention to. I definitely need to, but if I'm looking for a movie, Marvel's not normally the first place I go, but I'm definitely not opposed to it. Like the ones I have watched, I've loved. So yeah, but I do need to watch more of them. Absolutely.
And there's also similar to there in your circumstance. There's so much backstory with them as well that it can feel so overwhelming to go like there's so much like backstory and it goes back so far that it's like without me getting COVID in early 2022 and Celia and I committing to watching the MCU in chronological order when we did, I would never have been caught up. And we're lucky that, my best mate Buck is such a big Marvel head. So now he goes, watch this, don't watch that, watch this. And so I've been able to skip through a heap of the crap. But for someone starting out, it's like, hang on, what do you mean? There's like 30 movies I've got to sift through.
Well, no, Lachlan, it's also like, wait, what do you mean I can't start with the first one? Like, what do you mean? Like, I need to watch this one that came out in 2023 after one that came out here. But I think I'm up to, because when you said you were doing that, and like I reckon it was after you finished it, I like started doing the same thing, and I think I'm up to the one after Endgame in chronological order.
Yeah, which is basically no, it's not Loki season 1. It might be Hawkeye actually. The one of the guy who shoots the arrow. It's got Haley Steinfeld in. Anyway, that's definitely enough movie chat. Go and see The Odyssey. Go and see Spider-Man Brand New Day. They are two great films. Definitely go and check them out. I loved watching both of them. We're going to pivot, Harry, to a hot topic. The biscuits got a lot of love. The biscuits food seems to strike a chord with people. And we even had some absolute randoms who I had absolutely no idea who they were going, yep, agree with that, but the Kingston and the Caramel Crown need to be in there, and I am inclined to agree. However, people on the Instagram did see, courtesy of the Dolby Coles floor, a lovely story of people. I'll see if I can find it while we're on. But Harry, your topic for today, what have you gone with?
Just to touch on last week, so I had some feedback quite a bit at school from people who listen to the podcast, and on Saturday with the people I was with. Got some feedback. The Kingston was definitely missed, and the Monte Carlo, I had a lot of people say that had to slot in at number 5 over the shortbread creams, which it was borderline. Now my top 5 for this week is it's food again.
Harry, before you move on to the top 5, I've got the results here. 59% voted no, and 41% voted yes.
Which is pretty good, because people will vote no if they disagree with one of them.
And 4 people reshared the story. I didn't see that, but there you go.
Hectic.
Actually, Lachlan, I've got a request. Can we get the top 5 posted midweek?
Yeah, definitely. I can definitely do that. I've reserved it to Friday to give people a little Friday night treat from their finishing their hardworking week. But if there's demand for a midweek post, I can definitely pivot to that.
I just think it's good because then you get people coming up to you at school and it doesn't marinate over the weekend.
No, I'm a fan of that. We can definitely change that.
It's good for engagement. Now, top 5 for this week is top 5 shapes, and I'm not talking circles and squares. Shout out, Mr. Maker. I'm going top 5 shapes, the biscuit. So we're going basically down the biscuit route again. So in number 5, I have savoury. It's just like, it's not amazing, but it's not one where if someone's offering me a savoury, I'm not turning it down. Yet there is shape flavours I've left off this list. Like I've had people offer me them and go, no, don't like them. Now, so savoury slots in at number 5. Number 4, I have nacho. It's not one of the originals, and it's the only non-original on this list. But I remember one of my mates had them about every day for 3 years of primary school, and I used to always snag a couple and always enjoyed them, and they would never get bought in the town household. And I mentioned it to Dad one day, and I got a very swift no, that's not one of the originals, so we won't be buying it. So I moved on and just was like, okay, I'll just keep eating them in my mate's lunch. So number 3, I have pizza. I really like pizza. The top 3 are all very, very good. And I'm sure you can all guess what the top 2 are in interchangeable order. But pizza, it never got the biggest run in our household, but it's definitely one I enjoy. The always a good amount of seasoning on it too. You get some of these shapes and they're a bit light on seasoning, but pizza's not one of them. And it really is lovely. It goes down a nice treat. Number 2, chicken crimpy. It's the biggest shape, and I really enjoyed chewing the little outside, and then throwing the rest of it in my mouth. Yeah, the jagged egg, the Jagger Smith edges, and it was just like it's just a good biscuit. Really, you rarely get anyone who goes, nah, don't like the chicken crimpies, hate the chicken crimpies. I think they would be in everyone's top 5. They're solid and they are a staple. Number one of barbecue shapes, which until like 3 years ago, I thought that was kind of like a common occurrence for barbecue to be number one. But every time I mention, I think barbecue's the best, I just cop it from people. And they go, dinner. I'm like, oh, sorry, but I just think barbecue's the best. It's got the most topping. There's always a good little bit of sprinkle at the bottom of the bag. That's good to chow down on. And yeah, it's the best shape as well. It's not the best size, but it's the best shape. And that concludes my top 5.
That's fantastic, Harry. On the list, I totally agree. The barbecue is so far superior as number one shape. I remember being a little kid, being single age between like primary age 6 to grade 1 to grade 5, and Dad used to sit out in the carport. And sometimes when it was raining, he'd sit out there, and Gus, you'd appreciate this. He'd sit out and watch the rain. He'd sit out there with a VB can or whatever beer he was drinking at the time, and he'd have a box of barbecue shapes there with me. And we'd sit there, and he would give me one shape at a time. And he would specifically tell me this. He'd go, don't chew it, suck the flavour off it, and then eat it, because you'll last longer and there'll be more for me. And if
played, Dad.
And if I got too keen on him, he'd go, I think you've had enough, kid. Because he wanted more to himself.
I was going to say, as he's handful
for me, when I was younger, I thought barbecue was a little harsh as a flavour. Like it is, spicy's not the right word, but it does pack a bit more of a punch than any other shape. But I realised quickly that was the best flavour. I, Harry, have gone with the original cheese in 5. That's the yellow box. The chicken crimpy in 4. The nacho cheese in 3, pizza in 2, and barbecue in 1. I think pizza and barbecue are so far clear as the top 2. It's not even funny. There is a cult following behind the chicken crimpy, which I've never really understood. I don't mind a chicken crimpy, but it's certainly not my favourite. And Harry, I was very interested to see the cheese and bacon not on your list either.
It is the worst flavour of shapes.
Can you talk me through that? I don't really love it either.
I hate it too.
It is
I
the
can't stand
absolute worst flavour of shapes.
Also, do you feel like the cheese and bacon, it's real sharp on the edges? You'll cut the top of your mouth. If you chew one the wrong way, you'll bloody snag yourself.
Well, Lachlan, if we're to go off the chainsaw chat from a couple of weeks ago, it's foaming more sharp than our chainsaw chain at the moment.
Yeah, literally.
I can't stand the smell. I can't stand the smell of them, and I can't stand the taste.
I've never, Harry. I think you and I share a bit of a similar opinion on this. I just can't. I can't understand how people can like the artificial cheese flavour.
Yeah, I don't like the artificial cheese.
I just reckon it's disgusting. I actually completely agreed with Harry's top 5. Although, Lachlan, I am one of those cult chicken crimpy guys, and I would switch the barbecue and the crimp around, but it's only by a margin. It's only by a slight margin. Honestly, depending on how I feel on the day, they're interchangeable.
Yeah, I think for me, what's interchangeable is the crimpy and the pizza. I do really enjoy pizza.
The chicken crimp.
Yeah, I mean, the chicken crimpy, it's a very nice consistency of a biscuit. Like, it's not, the cheese and bacon's way too tough. Like, I reckon as a kid, you'd snag your gums on the cheese and bacon. The cheese, it's actually,
you'd have a blowout.
The cheese, I find, is a good biscuit with other things, similar to the savoury. Like the savoury, really, a savoury is just original. Like, it's got a bit of salt on it. You can potentially have it with a bit of something else, maybe a bit of French onion dip or something. But I think for a lot of people, it's the top 3s: pizza, chicken crimpy, and barbecue. It's any one of those 3. And if
the box that I'm taking in the cab with me of the tractor for a good honest day's work is the barbecue. Like the chicken crimpy, I don't think it's the choice of the trade. I don't think it gets it's not getting your carpenter through his smoko. Your heavy diesel mechanic through his drive home. So I think the barbecue.
Yeah, I agree. But one thing with the barbecue and the pizza that it has over anything else is you do get the round 2 of licking your fingers afterwards because you've got that much flavouring on them. You just got to
Agreed.
it gets so caked on if you eat a heap of it. You're nearly grinding it off your teeth.
Yep. And Lachlan, if we're going cricket smoko spreads, then the barbecue and the pizza are getting a run all the time over the cricket.
Absolutely, they are.
So
Absolutely.
it's.
I also think there seems to be a little bit of a cult following around the cheese and bacon. And I think it could be because no one likes them. And I'm sure I'll probably get a bit of that cult following in the comments of my top 5.
Well, Harry, it's funny you say that. I'm currently looking at a tier list made by Product Review. I'm sure that's a reputable website. And the tier list goes effing horrible. I won't swear because there are kids that listen to the show. Bad, average, good, and amazing. And I'm going to read you the list here.
Please don't.
If you just give me a second, I'm actually going to bloody...
Look, I'm just going to say it. I believe that the top 3, a lot of people surely would have pizza, barbecue, chicken cream.
Yeah.
You would think so, but I'm going to bring this list up.
I think that's there and undisputed.
I'm going to bring this list up so that...
And Harry, to be honest with you, when it comes to shapes, I don't care what people are doing at 4 and 5.
No, what? No.
Look at this list. So people watching on YouTube will be able to see. Those that are listening, I'll take you through it right now. So
pizza average is a crime.
In last place here, you've got the... I'm just going to zoom this in just a touch. You've got savoury in effing horrible, which, look, I don't think... each to their own. I don't know. I think people might look at it and go, it's a little bit vanilla. They've put nothing in bad, which is absolutely outrageous. When in average you've got pizza, chicken palmy, and cheddar, right? And then in
Cheddar
good,
can drop to bad.
But in good, you've got barbecue chicken crimpy and nacho cheese, and then you've got Vegemite and cheese and the cheese and bacon in amazing. No, and I just think that's a terrible list.
But
they're not.
That just doesn't make sense.
Source.
No, so whoever did that from Product Review, they can go and have a long, hard look at themselves.
Savoury might not be flavoursome, but horrible is not like. Yes, it might be bland, but if it's bland, you throw it in mid.
Change the topic name. It's a tier list, Harry. Change the name of it to boring. Like, call it vanilla, call it boring. Like, I think Shapes have probably looked at their range and gone, we need something that's a little bit bland you can have with something else. And the savoury shape does that. So,
Lachlan, you mentioned it
maybe
might be...
it's not flavour that you can see, which is the Shapes tagline. And look, it doesn't live up to its billing. But
Lachlan,
yeah,
but can you see chicken crimpy flavour?
No, you can't, Harry.
You mentioned it might be a reputable source, but I believe that a reputable source isn't one that uses words such as good, bad, horrible, and great. It's a source that uses words a bit more like effing horrible, effing fantastic.
Sorry.
Much like, go on.
No, you're right. No, sorry, Gus. Much like
the true working class Aussie that's actually indulging in these.
So, again, people on the YouTube, we've got some reviews here on the shapes that I think is interesting to share. Chris S. Arnott shapes are no longer a nice cracker. Smaller and lack flavour. Dry and boring. No longer on our shopping list. Waste of money. 1 star. You then had Bruce. What complete rubbish. Coles had half price. No, that's Nknow. No wonder. Probably meant to be N-O, I reckon, Bruce. No wonder why they had no seasoning whatsoever. Freaking rubbish. Steve Dawson a year ago. Horrible, tasteless. Smaller box and dearer price. Arnott's have lost the plot and our custom. Nathan L. Could have been Nathan Lyon. No, not good anymore. Gone downhill. Just brought cheese and bacon and they are foul now.
Yeah, they've always been foul, mate.
Number 1 from Dickhead. Crap.
That's his actual name.
Crap. Sift, always stale, no flavour compared to 30 years ago. Lift your game, idiots. And Bryza, tasteless Arnott shapes. Used to be the go-to snack, not anymore. So,
look, I think Bryza's really summed it up there. Dickhead was slightly off the mark, but Bryza's really Really nailed it.
And one for the YouTube, and I'm going to read it out for the people listening. Miguel A. Arnott's pizza shapes are absolutely disgusting and tasteless. They have changed the recipe and the biscuits are half the size. It used to be so much better years ago. I can't believe Arnott's charge $4 a box for this rubbish. Arnott's, you are criminals charging customers for this rubbish. Shame on you. Purchased in October 2025 for $1.99. So
Lachlan, I
Miguel, at
appreciate-
least you got it for half price.
I was going to say,
Can we
I
just touch
appreciate-
on, just as we're touching on shapes, can we talk about like the outcry when the originals were ditched?
Oh,
Didn't the barbecues get ditched?
no, they changed the recipe and everyone blew up. And it wasn't that like hard, crispy cracker. It was like a bit more of a wafer style and people bloody lost it.
Can you talk us through that, Lachlan? Because you would have remembered that. I remember a bit of the. I think I remember the bit of the back end, or maybe that was just Dad's anger.
I remember the uproar.
Oh, Bill would have been bloody blowing up over it. He
'Cause
wasn't fair enough.
Dad still
And it's
speaks
his
about it to
rugby
this
league
day.
right. It's his
Uh,
rugby league right.
So I might get some of the facts here wrong. Forgive me. This is off the top of my head. As companies do, they go for a brand refresh. Shapes have obviously been the same for years and they hadn't really changed them. It was a proven formula, didn't need to change it. They tried to refresh the lineup and give like a new take on the same biscuit. So like it was being sold as this like new and improved barbecue, new and improved pizza. And people just absolutely hated it so much. And it was so much worse. It was so much worse. So here we go. So Arnott's changed its iconic shaped savory biscuit recipes in April 2016 by baking the flavoring
So I do remember it. Yeah.
the dough instead of relying strictly on surface seasoning dust. This controversial alteration sparked major public backlash, forcing Arnott's to bring back the classic formulas under an originals label later that year. So they put the flavoring into the dough instead of sprinkling it on top. So it wasn't really flavor that you can see. It was just flavor baked into the biscuit, which kind of goes against absolutely everything they ever went with. So there you go.
Yeah, no, so I do remember that. I do remember.
But boys,
They've been
lovely
doing the
top
damn
five.
thing since 1954.
Oh, massively.
72 years.
Yeah, but I mean that's why there was such an uproar because I think so
Yeah.
many different generations had that same affiliation. Because you think about it, like they're in school lunches, they're at cricket tea breaks, they're at we've already spoken about our old man eating them, like, and even like they were at someone would bring him in for a party. They were everywhere.
They're a lunch for the everyday butler. They're literally bloody got no lunch in the house. That's all right. I got a packet of shapes I can take in, box of shapes.
And I'd like to think they still are. Like if you're looking at the biscuit economy, they're still probably high value. I wouldn't like you compare them to a sleeve of Tim Tams,
Yeah,
and you're certainly getting more kilojoules per dollar.
I was going to say if we're working on a dollars per kilojoule metric.
Look, I'm sure plenty of tradies in their time have grabbed a box of shapes to have for lunch.
Well, they'll uproar about shapes being $4 and not being able to get them for half price, $2 very often, but they'll happily smack a bloody pack a day.
Well, it's safe to say that Miguel was
But
not very happy.
shapes?
Miguel
The
was not very
shapes?
happy. And other people that are not very happy is us three after the Brisbane Lions absolutely got embarrassed by the Carlton Blues last night to the tune of 76 points. Harry, we have to give you all of the credit for predicting that this was going to happen. We laughed at you and we really thought that you were going to miss the mark again and it was going to be your cynicalness, but well done, mate.
Game 3 Origin, and now the Lions in this game. Coming to this game, I did think it was a danger game. And it was a game that I wasn't entirely going to be disappointed if we lost. Because it felt to me the last real loss we could have and still be competitive in, like, the premiership defence, but that loss was absolutely appalling. That was not a loss that is just okay for a football club to really have on the run into September. Yes, we had it against Gold Coast at the Gold Coast last year, but that was against a genuine contender. Carlton are not a genuine contender. And yeah, it was embarrassing, and injuries came out of it as well. So I don't really know where we go to from here.
Well, look, Fags said after the game, he said, he was quoted, "No panic, one bad game. We've been here before." The big talking point from this is going to be this. I mean, if you're a Lions fan, the big talking point for this is going to be the structural change to bring Oscar Allen in and put Eric Hipwood back. When in hindsight, and I know everyone's an expert in hindsight, but in hindsight, Dara Joyce and leaving the forward line and everything exactly how it was probably going to be a better option. Hipwood and that whole back line was just, to be honest, embarrassed. Brody Kemp was kicking them from everywhere, who's been a makeshift forward for Carlton. Harry Mackay, they were everywhere. They kicked 8 goals between them. And Hipwood just looked totally lost out there, which, like, I know he's played that role a little bit before, and you can tell by watching him previously, he's not a defender. I think that's a poor decision at selection. And they'll know that. Like, there's no way they won't know that. But as a Lions fan, you're kind of sitting there going, I don't really know what we're doing. This is so silly. Like, this is not who we are. But what it has done is, Harry, you've been harping on about it all year, that we are weak and we are understrengthed in the back line. I know it's kind of amplified by the fact that Jack Payne has had to have surgery on his knee again. He would be a walk-up starter in this team. And Ty Gallop's really been in there to fill that role, and he's been excellent. But again, it doesn't take much for the Lions back line to look extremely scratchy, and we saw this earlier in the year as well, and it's something that needs to be addressed this offseason.
Yeah, I completely agree, and that call to put Hipwood back there when he's never really been a swingman. Maybe if a game's gone really bad during it, but the only time I can think of where he's ever been put down back by selection was Gold Coast in 2023. Apart from that, it's always been really in a pinch. So I don't really understand that when you've got Dara Joyce, who played really well when he came in at the start of the year for Harris Andrews. And I know last year we were rumoured to be looking at Jordan Ridley, who decided to stay, or Bombers kind of made him stay. And we need someone of calibre to replace what I would say is the Ryan Lester role, who came out of this game injured.
Yeah, we haven't had any news on that either. Kadeem Coleman, he also is concussed. There was also Hugh McCluggage went off with calf. I mean, I think they just got to the point where they're like, what's the point in risking him? And then Logan Morris had a knock as well. I'd assume those two are fine, but the Leicester one is extremely worrying. Apparently, Darcy Gardner's going to be ready to go. I would be very interested to see what they do at selection this week. Oh, look, I am one that I'm not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Chris Fagan, we've had no reason to doubt him or the Lions. I think they will respond to this at the Gabba against Hawthorn. But as a Lions fan with this game, these things we can happen. When we lose, we can lose so badly. Like, Harry, you touched on the Gold Coast game. We were there in the flesh. It was horrible. You think of the GWS game this year where we got absolutely slapped. This is another one where it's been similar, where, they kicked. Credit to Carlton. They were excellent. I want that known. Carlton played some really good football, and we played some very bad football. 24 goals, 10. They couldn't miss. They were kicking them from everywhere. They were up and about. This is a club that's been down on their knees, and, they loved it. And those fans would have had an absolute day knocking the back-to-back premiers off by 76 points in that fashion. I would have been, if I was a Blues fan, I would have been over the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, another question to come out of this game is percentage has dried up.
Well, our position doesn't move here. We've lost our buffer. It would have been nice to have won this game to then potentially be able to move to third.
Adelaide have gone ahead of us on percentage.
Well, they've gone ahead now, have they? Well, that's always fun.
So we are out of the 4.
Yeah, look, it's bloody. Look, the thing here that's good is I still will back us in. You are right, Harry. It did feel like a loss was coming. It's not panic stations in my mind. I think the last 7 weeks we've shown that we are still there and thereabouts. It's just how is it going to look over the next few weeks while we wait for Ty Gallup to come back, and also potentially how bad is that injury to Ryan Lester, because he's a big loss under our current layout.
And he's been having a great season too. He's just been such a rock back there. But as you said, Harry, like you almost were saying, a loss wouldn't be the worst thing here, just to almost kick the Lions back into gear for the last. Like if you're going to lose a game, this would be the game to lose.
Well, yeah, but not in this fashion. What you want is like an ideal loss for me would have been a loss by 3 goals where they get off to a fast start and the margin stays the same the whole game after that. And we get through with no injuries. Oscar Allen kicks 3 goals. Darragh Joyce has a great game in defence. Or like we didn't... A loss where we looked like Brisbane. A loss where we don't show up, but we show something throughout the game. We showed nothing after quarter time.
Yeah, some slight fight at the back end of the second quarter, but the third and fourth, it was ugly. I mean, Will Ashcroft, Josh Dunkley cracked in the whole game. They showed a lot of effort. Will continued his great form, but really it was just a drop-off across the board. And I think also Fagan made it known. He said, look, Hipwood doesn't play in the midfield, and we got absolutely beaten comprehensively around the ball. And, I mean, Carlton's pressure and everything was fantastic. So the midfield also had a pretty off night, even with Dunkley and Ashcroft having good nights. I thought that we got comprehensively beaten in the ruck by Pitnet. And who else? Who's the other Blues ruckman, Harry? Pitnet and someone else. Maybe Harry Mackay was through there a bit. But anyway, we looked comprehensively beaten. Draper had a couple of moments, which was good, kicked a nice goal, but Carlton were a runaway freight train, and 154 points suggests that. And David King made a point of it on the broadcast that, while we're able to score at will, our defense is an issue, and it's an issue because of the personnel we haven't got there. And it's going to be interesting. And the Lions have got a chance to respond. A big game against Hawthorn at the Gabba on Friday night. As a Lions fan, you kind of they usually always respond, but there's also that other part of you that's a little bit could it be ugly?
Yeah,
it's
and Hawthorn Friday night's going to be no easy feat.
I don't think this year we've had our trademark responses as much as we have in the past. Then you add the compounding injuries to it, and just makes what Ty Gallup did. Again, in hindsight, it's so dumb. Because we now lose Leicester. You got Gardner underdone coming back in. You've got Darragh Joyce. You got Tom Duday's not playing amazing footy in the VFL. Shadow Brain's been playing very, very good footy in the VFL. So he'd probably come back in, but yeah, it's sort of anything can happen on Friday. We could win by 100 points. They could win by 100 points.
On Carlton, tactically, they did a really good job with Harris Andrews, Harry Mackay working him up the ground, and they just kept getting marks in over the top. And so with our undermanned defence, it kind of took Harris away from his structure, and we lost our structure. And then, you go through the unlucky nature of Kadeen Coleman having a HIA. He now misses next week. And I know that means that Zorko can come back in, and it's not necessarily the end of the world. But, it is just one of those where you just look at our year. And again, the Lions' depth has been tested all year, very similar to what we saw in 2024. The depth just gets tested, and guys need to stand up and come in and play their role. So it's going to be interesting. I'm still. I think right now I'd still tip Brisbane for Friday night. I have a feeling that they'll respond, but time will tell.
Yep.
On the depth chat, I just think this year we've been tested in areas that we just don't have depth in. Like if we lose any of our midfielders, we have people in the VFL that can go in there and we won't really notice a difference. Yes, Hugh McCluggage is a very good player, way better than anyone in the VFL. But if you bring a Dan Annabelle in, you don't really see the big difference. But our defensive depth and we just seem to be getting injuries in our back line all the year. And we haven't had a break from it.
No, we haven't. And it just kept on coming. So we'll see. Gus, what are your thoughts going into the Hawthorn game?
Look, it's going to be a really tough game. I can see Brisbane responding after this one, but Coleman's out. We don't know how long we've got on Leicester. So do you think Shadow Brain will come in? And who else?
Joyce is the one.
Kitty's not a big loss for me.
Jared Joyce. Yeah.
Kitty was only in there because Zorko was managed.
Well, Zorko's coming back in this week, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
So we've got Zorko, and who else will come in for?
I think we'll probably see Darragh Joyce come in, him or Shadow Brain. I think they will look to shore up their defence, particularly. Well, they kind of have to because Hawthorn have a very tall forward line. So,
who do you reckon they'll go first? Out of those two,
probably Joyce, just because of his size.
Yeah.
Shadow Brain's more of your Noah Answorth style. Role. I mean, shout out to Noah Answorth. Played 100 games, so took him a while to get there, but he got there. So I think that's probably where I'd see them going. But
it's. I can see Brisbane kickstarting into a little a bit of a win this week, but it's just going to be hard. I mean, in saying that, Hawks didn't win convincingly against North this week.
And not only that, Hawthorn into Gold Coast, both games at the Gabba, and then Collingwood at the MCG, where Ty Gallup will be available for selection. So, it's not as bad as it looks.
No, but in saying that, Hawthorn haven't exactly beaten North Melbourne by much, but here we are getting pumped by just about 80 against Carlton.
Yeah, who are we to talk?
And Hawthorn beat Carlton by about 65 points when they played a couple of rounds ago. So it's it'll be interesting.
Monsoonal condition.
Yeah. We're back home. I'd love to see a Brisbane lift here because, hopefully we've got our loss out of the way and we can find a bit of form in these last couple of games, but I'm just not sure. I'll be tipping Hawthorn.
Interesting. Well, we'll be there. There'll be another food review coming out. We'll be there for a Friday night.
I really hope we'll be microphone checking this time.
Yes, I'm so sorry about our terrible food reviews.
I've been doing the same as what I've always done with the microphones, and it just hasn't been working. So
we'll be sorting that out. But thank you for bearing with us. The food review has been a great bit of content. We've got.
It is good fun.
I'm looking forward to seeing what we get. We haven't had too many things that I've gone, that's an absolute stinker.
No.
But there's still time.
You guys turn your nose up at the spinach and ricotta, but I thought it was quite nice.
It was just a bit dry.
It was just
dry for my liking. Boys, something else that's a little bit dry and barren, if you will. The Brisbane Broncos season.
Is points for the Broncos.
Over.
Yeah.
13th loss. Nail is in the coffin. There were people after they beat the Panthers giving a little bit of hope that they could do it. They are we called it after last week against the Cowboys, but they are so done. They are so done. And
now it's just now it's just time. I mean, it's hard, big club, but like, just start throwing some serious shape out there.
Yeah, throw some shape.
Just start getting silly with it. Like
A couple of freshies, a couple of tipjack Jills, like.
Absolutely. Is that a bit of Ipswich Rugby League coming through?
Yeah, that's a couple of plays. Ben has one, which is the chicken palmy. Steak and chips is another.
Oh, nice.
Freshy shapes, like everyone knows freshy shapes. So the fellow leagueies listening will be sitting there going, yeah, mate, I know what it means.
Imagine playing league and imagine playing league and quickly yelling out, boys, steak and chips, salad, and a side of Diane.
Mate, it happens. Mate, it happens.
A quick little passage of play. Yeah, look, not ideal, Lachlan. It must have been a bit of a somber, sort of sad night at Suncorp last night. It's not pretty.
Yeah, it's ugly.
Really not pretty.
It's very ugly.
And you're right when you last night you made the comment of like, kind of only seems like something's actually going to happen when Walshy decides to do something.
Hey,
like he's the only one generating a. Imagine if Walsh wasn't on the side, like on the field.
I totally agree. Last night, I know he nearly missed that conversion, but like the only time we looked like actually scoring was Reece Walsh decided he was deadly and was running around and pulling out blinding plays. And he's kind of in a bit of a catch-22 because he's so key to how they want to attack. But then he sometimes thinks that he has to do it all himself, takes on too much than he bites off more than he can chew, and then he makes a dumb error and turns the ball over and everyone turns on him. And it's like, well, he's also trying his absolute heart out to try and get something different. And I mean, it just looks like a team that just needs the end of the season. Like,
yeah.
And saying a team really needs the end of the season when they're losing probably the best player in the game in Payne Haas is a just crazy statement to say.
Yeah, and I mean, look, there's some guys on that Broncos team that have had poor seasons. They've had crap going on everywhere. Like you think about Dean Mariner's leg injury, you've had Karapani's off-field issues, you've had Payne Haas leaving, Adam Reynolds retiring, Corey Jensen retiring with his blood clots. Yeah. Like Reece Walsh has been hurt.
Well, and like Payne's been injured as well for some time.
Yeah, and there's heaps of things you can point at, but I think for me it just points to a team that needs to rejuvenate their list a bit. I think their salary cap is a bit full and they're a bit too boxed in. And I think they need to, getting rid of no Payne Haas and those guys leaving is going to do that. But I think they need to start thinking about next year. What do they need to bring in? Who do they need to bring in? Who right now at the club do they think could potentially be playing in their best 17 round one next year and lead with them as opportunities? Like, are they really learning much from having, someone like a Ben Hunt playing at the moment? Probably not. Is there someone that he could help? Maybe that's the young halfback. I don't know, but it just to me stinks of a team that's needs to rebuild again, which is crazy considering it feels like they only just rebuilt after they sucked 2021, 2022. So
yeah, it's been an absolute mess of a season.
So it's been a dog's breakfast, an utter dog's breakfast, and I can't believe. You guys both tipped them for the premiership, so
that's my lack of rugby league knowledge coming out right there, Lachlan.
I'm a bit like I can understand how people kind of thought, well, maybe they can build on it and they can go again.
I was just used to Brisbane teams going back to back.
We were caught up in the excitement, Lachlan. Sue us.
Now, boys, to finish the show, I'm going to give you one stock exchange topic, which is Josh Fraser deserves the Carlton job permanently.
Yeah, give it to him.
So he hasn't officially put his hat in the ring. 9-2 as the caretaker coach. It was an unbelievable performance from Carlton against Brisbane. We have to give them credit for that. Now, is he the Messiah or is it David Teague dressed as Josh Fraser?
No, I think you've got to keep him. He just beat the back-to-back reigning premier by 76 points. Everyone was saying, they haven't taken a huge scout. They haven't taken a big scout. He's beaten the two best coaches in the game in his tenure, Chris Scott and Chris Fagan. And he's beaten both of them decently comprehensively. He's blown Chris Fagan out of the park. But I just don't see how you can't give it to him. And I think they've kind of been backed into a wall. And can you imagine the pressure that a different coach that isn't him would come in under, going like, we've said no to this guy that's 9-2. We need you to be good. Like he would just be getting compared to Fraser the whole time. And for any team to go 9-2 is impressive. And I just don't really see how you can't.
Yep, I totally agree, Gus.
Well, like what Harry said, you're coming in after a coach going 9-2. What if you're all of a sudden 8-3? You'd be getting rotten tomatoes thrown at you and stuff like that. Like, as in, the bar's already so high, and it's a bit of a fuzzball situation as well. Like, what's happened? I mean, Manly have dropped off over the past few weeks, but yeah, you're like, why? With such forward momentum, why would you change it? As in, like, something's obviously working. You know, even if that's, you still got the same players, but it might just be getting those players gluing a bit more, bit of a better culture, and obviously some different tactics and ways to go about it. And as a coach, that's kind of all you can do.
I think there's being the caretaker after such a poor run, like we saw it with Vossi, and it was really soul-sucking.
Yep.
I think it's very easy to be the new guy that comes in and freshens the place up and everyone's having a great time and everyone's playing great footy. I think it's very different when you're the actual coach, which you do sometimes see. Like we saw, if I just zoom out and think about it from a sport point of view, you can point to David Teague at Carlton's a great shout. Took him through some great wins towards the back end of a season and then ended up not working out the job. If you want some, football examples, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer took over Jose Mourinho at Man United. He was good for a bit, took the club back, pumped some life back into it, but then ultimately ended up getting sacked. So it's interesting. On Man United, it's an interesting situation. Harry, and I mean, Gus, he's at the end of the show going to finally announce his Premier League team that he's chosen, which we'll get onto. Harry, this situation reminds me a lot of Michael Carrick's situation at Man United, where he leads them back. They finish third. I mean, not the same in the sense of that Carlton are going to finish anywhere important. They might, but we don't know. But he really does restore the club with a bit of stability. And it ends up being this thing of like, will they appoint him? Won't they appoint him? Is it going to be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer 2.0? They end up appointing him. And like you were saying in regards to Josh Fraser, anyone that comes in that's not Josh Fraser, if Josh Fraser doesn't get the position, they're going to be sitting there and going, if they start going poorly, they're going to be going, well, why didn't we appoint Josh Fraser when we were already going really well? The same way that if they appoint him and they go really badly next year, they're going to be going, why didn't we go on our due diligence and find a proper coach? So it's kind of like a bit of a catch-22. You can't really you can make a bad decision, you could make a good decision, but as long as you do your due diligence in making the decision, you can kind of rest on the confidence that you went through a due process.
Yeah, but the fans are never going to know if it's a due process. The Carlton fans are going to purely react on results.
Yes.
It's no matter what the decision the club makes, if it goes well, they're going to be happy. If it goes poorly, they're going to blame the decision, no matter how much time.
Which is their right. Which is their right as fans. Which is their right. So, no, that's interesting. It'll be, you couldn't blame them if they did appoint him after that fantastic performance on Saturday night. Gus, now people have been dying to know. He has come to a decision over the last couple of weeks. It just hasn't come up in the show. We were talking about who would Gus support in the Premier League ahead of the season. He caught World Cup fever, and he's finally come to a decision. Gus, before you reveal your football club,
yep,
I want you to talk the listeners through the decision-making and what you were searching for in a club and why you landed on the club you have.
Yep. No, absolutely, Lachlan. I didn't want to go for, in my eyes, a big club, one that toxic FIFA fans can go, oh, well, you're just following them because they're good, or you're just following them because they're a big club. And it'd be like, for me, someone new to AFL just going for Collingwood or something. I'd be like, oh, fair dinkum, come on. Don't need another person supporting those bloody grubs, mate. So there are a few criteria for me. One, I've got to like the cut of their jib. I'm a big jib guy. I've got to like the cut of their jib. I've got to like their colours, their logo. Like, if I'm going to get a team shirt, I've got to actually like their shirt. And I really just wanted a team that's as close to a Reggie side, like, within reason, a Reggie side. I want a Reggie team. And I don't just want your Guts of London side. I wanted just a team that's sort of got a bit about them, and pretty much just a team of reserve graders. Just within all those parameters, I've landed on Aston Villa. Aston Villa is my team. Aston Villa FC is the team that I'm going to be getting around. We were parked up at the AFL, and Harry and Lachlan were throwing a few names out there, and I was like, no. Who's the team with the maroon, the light blue, and the yellow? And Harry was like, oh, mate, there's not even a team. And Lachlan goes, Aston Villa or West Ham. I was like, no, I think Villa. Anyways, the Ville. So their team's based in Birmingham. And I watched Peaky Blinders and loved Peaky Blinders. Working class. That's based in Birmingham. So huge fan of that. And to be honest with you, I like the colours, and I like that they're kind of just a mid-pack warrior. And go Aston Villa. And also, sorry, Indonesia 11, but we did the damn thing in Jakarta, 3-1. And so you can bugger off back home with your tail in between your legs, mate.
Didn't you play them in Indonesia, so they can't bugger off back home?
Well, they can, mate.
They're going to sleep at the stadium.
Yeah, Gus, I have just sent you a link that I want you to open, because I want you to scroll through the Aston Villa squad and tell me who's your favourite player based purely off their squad photo.
Well,
who's getting it done? Who's getting it done for you?
Who's doing the damn thing? Well, this week it's definitely been Unai Emery, however you say that name.
That's the manager.
Yeah, that's
hang on,
no,
Gus.
no.
Hang on. No. I'm gonna, for the YouTube, we're gonna get this up. So here we go. I want you to. I've got it up on the screen, so it's easy for you. So we've got the goalkeepers.
Yep.
Emiliano Martinez and Marco Bizot. We've got,
Matty Cash is a funny name, but Lachlan, you pointed out that he's quite the geezer.
He is a geezer. He's actually English, not Polish. Shout out to your boy Ian Matson.
Ian's not bad. Fullback too. Got a bit about him. Now, I've got to say, Emiliano is doing a bit for me.
Emiliano.
The attacking mid. Buendia, except I see his little nationality there that he plays for Argentina, so I'm not sure about that.
He's also always injured.
Gus, there is someone in this row that I think actually suits your style of what you would like to see in a footballer. Yeah. And he also just happens to be Aston Villa's captain, John McGinn.
Tell me it's John.
Mate, John McGinn has one of
best celebrations in world football.
John McGinn.
Well, me boy, John.
I'm going to Google John McGinn rump.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
He has a sensational rump. He's known as a player who could potentially score with his butt.
Oh, that's a rump from way back.
That's his celebration.
That's so dribbly.
Lachlan, go to the one in the Villa kit down beneath there.
Son.
Look at the caption. John McGinn uses his backside.
Mate, I'm pretty sure he scored with his butt. but he's been
humongous.
known as a low, you can see here, a low centre of gravity. He packs a punch, big Johnny McGinn. He's Scottish, so he's an absolute legend.
And it's what I like to see in a player.
He's just an absolute hero. He's who, if I was to make a suggestion to who I thought you might enjoy, it's definitely Big John.
No, that's perfect. That's unbelievable. I like the cut John's give.
We'll need you to have a proper look through. There is also, Gus, you'll see down here, Joe Gauchi. That's an Australian goalkeeper.
Oh,
Who is on loan at Lincoln from Aston Villa, but he didn't make the World Cup squad because Pat Beach got selected over him. But
well,
very good.
Still, Joe's good.
Very good. Yes.
Well, then that just shows the strength of our side if we're getting rid of him, because we can obviously do without him, can't we? So fair dinkum, off you go, Joe. Sorry, mate. Pack your bags back to Australia, Joe.
It'll be nice. It'll be nice for you to have there is an Aussie at the club as well.
Absolutely. Wait, is there still an Aussie, or is Joe?
No, he's just been, but he's. I don't know if you're familiar with the loaning system. He basically just plays for a season at another club, but he's contracted to Aston Villa.
So we're just renting him out.
Yeah, that's literally what the loan system's for.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Imagine.
You go and play for someone else.
Imagine, Levi Ashcroft, mate. Just go and do the damn thing for Collingwood for a year, and then we'll see you back here at the start of 2028.
One day it'll probably happen.
That's so right.
It happens in the NRL. It happens in the NRL. Harry Grant played a year for Melbourne Storm.
I suppose.
Yeah, and he's also still playing there.
That's what I was thinking. Doesn't he?
Sorry, not the Melbourne Storm. He played a year for the West Tigers.
Oh, right.
And he was on loan.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Once you try purple, you never go back.
Yeah, but no, Lachlan, I followed Aston Villa on Instagram as soon as I made my mind up at the AFL there. And I've just been loving, I'll get reels from 2 months ago of some random Joe from Aston Villa scoring a goal, and I just send it in our group chat. Can't help the boys are on here, and I see the date. It's from the start of May.
Yeah. So are you gonna lock in and watch all the highlights? Watch the 5 a.m. games. Watch the 9:30 games.
Well, Harry, the 5 a.m. games, mate. That's perfect for me because that's when I get up, go to the gym, so I can watch the first couple of minutes. 30
are you
minutes
actually going to be a fan, or is it going to fade out?
Harry, if I went for one of the big clubs, it'd fade out. But the fact it's Villa, mate, if the fact it's the Ville and it's the working class, mate, I actually feel a bit...
We love the working class of Prince William.
You guys might take the pee out of me, but I actually am starting to feel... I'm actually starting to feel a bit of a connection and a love between the Villa and I. I'm actually...
And one thing, and I'm sure this is in your calendar, but I'm going to bring it up anyway for the sake of it.
I'd love you
every year, the winner of the Champions League, which is PSG, plays the winner of the Europa League, which is your Aston Villa. They play on Thursday, the 13th of August at 5 a.m. in a competition that's called the UEFA Super Cup. Now, luckily for you, Gus, I'll be at the farm when that game is being played.
That's going to be great content.
We're going to be getting up for it, and we're going to be putting the Super Cup on, and you never know, maybe the Villa are going to...
I might have to get on Amazon or Temu or whatever you young kids are shopping on these days and get myself a Villa kit.
Unless, of course, you're going to go to Salzburg to the Red Bull Arena and watch the Villa in the flesh.
Well, look, you'll see me at Villa Park, but you won't see me at Salzburg, mate.
And that's, Gus, before when we were in Mackay, Aston Villa will play their opening fixture against...
Which I'll be dragging you boys to the pub to go and watch. I suppose it'll be at a crazy hour, but that's all right.
No, it is actually at 11 o'clock on the day we fly in, back to Brisbane.
Are you kidding me? 11
at 11 p.m.
11 a.m. or p.m.?
p.m. I wish it was a.m.
Well, I guess we're going to be parking up at the pub before the first day of the test watching the Ville play.
No, it's when we fly back.
Although, Gus,
it works better because we're getting back in Brisbane at 11.
On Saturday, the 19th of September at 9:30, Spurs play Villa on a Saturday night.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Ville are going to make sure Spurs go back down to the whatever. They're going to get relegated for good, mate. Because aren't they bad at the moment?
Oh, they'll be better than they are. But the point is...
not when they're playing the Ville, mate.
the point is, Angus Town has picked a Premier League club. He's picked Aston Villa, so you can expect plenty
Not
of Aston
Ferrari
Villa
House.
plenty of Aston Villa chat coming on the podcast this year. And I'll tell you what, Gus,
bad,
I'm gonna snip you. I'm gonna snip that up into a reel of you choosing Aston Villa, and that is gonna be elite content for the socials. Boys, that's gonna draw the podcast to an end for this week. An absolute cracker. Hopefully Brisbane can respond because that was absolutely embarrassing. But
Well, we polished a turd this podcast. We made something of not much.
yeah, we absolutely we did. But we'll be back next week to go over another round of football and the random shenanigans that the three of us have been up to, of which will be an in-person record. So get excited for that.
Yes.
And we will catch you guys in the next one.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good week.